Hooah everyone, this is Frankie from BCTRGaming and this is my M16A4 and M4 tutorial. I have already 20,500 kills with the M16A4 and also 1,600 kills with the M4. So I have a lot of experience that I can share with you, and therefore I like to teach you how to use them correctly. Also, I am now at the 23rd position in the world with the M16A4. So you can see I have a lot of experience and you can trust me in this one. So how can we learn to manage the M16A4's and M4's burst mode? Therefore we get into the test range of Battlefield 4. So here we are, the test range of Battlefield 4. I have the M4 with me without any attachments. You can put any attachments that you like because it's not important what we have on our weapon, because we are going to learn the burst now. The burst mode, to learn the burst mode is very important, just because we want to link the bursts together, something like this. See, not so bad, huh? You can learn this as well. It's not so hard to do and so difficult to do. It just needs a little bit of training. And actually, as I started to use the M16A4 back in Battlefield 3, that is something that I did as well. I went on Nosha canals just without any players on an empty server and just learned to burst my weapon correctly. Now in the test range it's much easier to do because you don't have to worry that someone joins you and messes with your train. And well, this is something that I did every day that I started to play Battlefield 4 or Battlefield 3. In those days, I got onto the test range or Nosha canals without any other players and learned the burst mode for, let's say, 10 minutes a day. And you will see that after 2 weeks, you will learn the burst mode really good. Maybe also a little bit faster. So what we are going to do now is first doing 3 bursts over and over again. So after the third time you can reload and again. Oh, okay, that was the second burst again. And reload. You see? Not so hard to do. Everybody can do this. And reload again. So if you like, you can aim at something. Just for fun. Doesn't matter if you are accurate or not in that situation, because we just want to learn the burst mode. See? Not so bad. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to link them together. So therefore we do it a little bit faster now. And reload again. Oh, did you see that? Not so bad. So the thing that you do is just shoot 3 bursts. And every time you feel confident with doing this burst, then do it a little bit faster. And again. And then try to link them. Not bad, huh? And if you do this a couple of times, couple of days, then you feel much more confident to even be very deadly in close quarters when you need the best fire rate that you can push out of your weapon. And especially with the M16A4 and the M4 with a fire rate of 800, you're not so much on the short end of fire rate. Actually, you can be at 800 rounds per minute, and if you are able to link them, then you have the 800 rounds per minute. And then in such situations, also an Ace-23 have no chance against you. And also in mid-range with 800 rounds per minute, you can still be very accurate, and also at longer ranges. At longer ranges you can be very accurate, just because the first shot multiplier, as you know, is at the is just after the 3rd round of your burst. So during the burst you don't feel any recoil at all, as you see. Almost no recoil. I don't feel that I'm compensating for the recoil. Just a little bit. And you're good to go. See? Every shot on target. No problem there. So, and that is something you can do only with the M4 and the M16, being so much accurate at longer ranges just because you don't have any first shot multiplier. See? So now, if you can manage to have the highest fire rate that you can get out of those weapons, like the M4 and the M16A4, then you can be very, very deadly in any situations. And that is why I think it is very important to master the M16A4 and the M4, because in my honest opinion, the M16A4 and the M4 are at the moment one of the most versatile weapons in Battlefield 4, as long you can manage the burst mode. So again, not bad, huh? So now we want to set up our M4 and our M16A4, and therefore we get on simtic.com. So let's go. So here we go. We are on simtic.com and the Battlefield 4 multi-comparison department. It is almost here. It is exactly here. And now you can put all these slots. You can fill all these slots with M16A4 or maybe M4, whatever you like to do. So I just put the M16A4 here. You can also try to use this with the Ace-23 or something else, but we of course want to know how to set up our M16A4. So some of you guys just ask me, why do I use a stubby grip on my M16A4? And now we want to conclude this and if this is really the best setup for the M16A4. But first of all, let's check out the barrel attachments. So we can use a heavy barrel on it, a muzzle brake, maybe also a compensator. Here we go. And of course also a suppressor. And of course, if you use the M16A4 with a flash hider, nothing changes a lot. So we can just leave this open. So, and then just hit the compare button. Here we go. All this starts just for us on our fingertips. So as you can see, the suppressor here just reduced our muzzle velocity almost to half. So it is very, very low now. And this is something that I don't really recommend on the M16A4. Why? Because the M16A4 is mostly very effective in longer ranges. And of course, with a lower muzzle velocity, this effectiveness decreases a lot. So therefore, I don't use a suppressor on it. But if you have the feeling that you want M16A4 with the suppressor, then I recommend to use the M4 instead and put a suppressor on this one. With the M4, it is a little bit different because the M4 is much more suited to closer ranges than the M16A4 is, and so if you have M4 with suppressor, you will be very effective in closer ranges and also at mid ranges, but on longer ranges, of course, because of the larger damage drop with carbines, then it is a viable choice to put a suppressor on it. And of course, I sometimes use a suppressor as well, and then as I said, I use the M4, especially if I go with the weapon kit. Then I use the M4 with the suppressor a lot. So, as I said, for the M16A4, I wouldn't recommend to use a suppressor on it. So, let's check out the other departments. In recoil, if you use a heavy barrel, then you have a higher vertical recoil. It's not so much as it was before, but still, it is quite noticeable. And I don't use a heavy barrel at all, just because I don't like the added vertical recoil. But if you like it, if you can manage it, then I highly recommend to use a heavy barrel. On the other hand, you can use a compensator or muzzle brake on it, and it will reduce your recoil. With the muzzle brake, you have a reduced vertical recoil, as you can see, not so much. And with the compensator, you reduces your horizontal recoil. Well, funny thing is, as I started to play Battlefield 4 at the beginning, with the M16A4. Then I used the muzzle brake because it was almost at point 4 as at the level that we have now with the heavy barrel. And as I said, I don't like this added vertical recoil, and so I decided to put a muzzle brake on it. Now with 0.28 vertical recoil, I don't use a muzzle brake because I don't like to have the added spread increase that we have if we use a muzzle brake on it. So it's a little bit higher than usual, as you can see here. And as I said, I don't think it's necessary to put a muzzle brake on it unless you use an ACOG sight or a 0.34 sight on it. Then maybe with an ACOG or a 3.4 sight, then maybe a muzzle brake can be very viable. But if you use, like me, red dot sight or hollow sight, then I really much don't recommend to put any muzzle brakes on your weapon. The Compensator, I don't know, after they have buffed a couple months ago the vertical recoil of the M16A4 and M4, I used the Compensator a lot on it. But now with the reduced horizontal recoil, I don't think the Compensator is so much a help. And still, of course, also here we have the added spread increase. So I recommend not to use it. I really much not recommend it. So if you like to, then go ahead. But as I said, the M16 and the M4 is a very accurate platform. And with the Compensator muzzle brake, I think you destroy this accuracy, this very big, great accuracy of these both weapons a lot. So I recommend not to use this. As I said, unless you use higher magnification scopes, then of course go ahead and use a muzzle brake. But as I said, the Compensator, no, hell no, don't use ever a Compensator on your M4 or M16A4. It might be that the one or the other just slap me in the face, but I don't recommend a Compensator on it. In any case. So as I said, suppressor, yes. If you use the M4, then go ahead and do it. But with the M16A4, just don't. Just don't. Really much just don't. So, as we said, this is about the barrel attachments. Use a heavy barrel on your M16A4 or on your M4 if you can manage the vertical recoil. And if you like, you can use also suppressor on your M4. But unless you do so, then just use a flash hider, or as I do, I just don't use anything on my M16A4 just because I try to make my M16A4 and my M4 work for competitive, and you don't get a flash hider, or you can't use the flash hider in the ESL, so therefore I just leave this attachment slot open. But for the underbarrel attachments, we have oh, wait, let's just leave that open like this. And we have the angled foregrip, the ergo grip, and the stubby grip. So this one, we can close this one and just hit the compare button again. Now, we can check out the underbarrel attachments. You can also use, you can also check. Hello, good morning. Can you unfold, please? Thank you. Hello, good morning. What's going on here? Ah, here we go. You can also check the bipod, but actually I never recommend to use a bipod on your assault rifle. But if you like to, then go ahead and try, but no. Hell no. Okay, and damage in general, nothing changes, but in the recoil department we have the first change, of course. With the angled foregrip you have a lower first shot multiplier. That means multiplayer, did I just said multiplayer? Multiplier, of course. We have a much less multiplier, multiplier. Okay, we have a much lower multiplier. And that means between the bursts, it's much easier to control the M4 and the M16A4. So if you like to have much more control over your M16A4, then use the angled foregrip and you will be fine. With the ergo grip, you have a lower ADS moving, so you have less spread while moving, while you are while you are aiming down sight, and also while you are in hip fire. In hip fire, it is not so much a difference, so I don't recommend to use the ergo grip just for a lower spread while you are in hip firing. So if you like to, then go ahead and do so. But as I said, just for the hip fire, I don't recommend to do it. But it's your choice, and you can go if you like to. And the most important thing about the ergo grip is this that here, because that means you don't reach this 1 point ADS moving spread with other attachments or without any attachments. You will reach it much later, so you can shoot literally 4 bullets before you even reach this point, and this is very interesting. So you can do very much a spread, a burst more before you reach a spread more before you reach the maximum. So that's okay if you use an ergo grip on it. If you like to, you'll be fine with it. But for the stubby grip, why do I use a stubby grip on it? Of course, one thing is that you have a lower spread increase, but it's so small that I don't think it's very much an issue with your weapon. If you use a stubby grip on it, it doesn't change a lot. So this is not the thing why I choose a stubby grip on my M16A4. The very much more important stat is below here. This is this stats here. You have a maximum spread on your weapon. Usually it is for assault rifles it's 1.5 as here, but with stubby grip it is capped to 1 point. So while you are moving, you never reaches more than 1 point, and that is very important, especially if you are moving. So as you know, the spread while you're moving is at 1. Interesting, isn't it? And as I said, while you are moving ADS, where is it? Here. This is standing. Where is moving? I'm blind right now. Here, it's here, moving. It's also 1 point. So that means while you're shooting, your spread doesn't increase at all. So you will be capped at 1. So even if you are able to link all your bursts together from a whole mag, then you would never ever increase 1 point. It doesn't even increase at all, and that makes, especially for me, which because I'm able to link to link 3 bursts without any problems. It becomes an issue if you hit 1.5. 1.5 is very much higher than 1 point. So for me, I think it's a very viable choice to put a stubby grip on your M16A4 and on your M4. But as I said, if you feel much more comfortable with the ergo grip, then go ahead. But I really much recommend the stubby grip on it. Unless you want to go with the angled foregrip, which is a very viable choice as well, especially for long ranges and mid ranges. It is a very good attachment. So if you want to use the angled foregrip, then go ahead. Also, if you use a heavy barrel, then the angled foregrip will be a very beneficial attachment on the M16A4 and the M4 if you use, as I said, the heavy barrel on it. And as I said, also if you have a higher magnification scope on your weapon. So therefore, for the attachments. So as I said, I usually use my M4 and my M16A4 with a stubby grip and nothing else on it. Okay, of course I use a red dot sight on it, and that's it. So guys, here we are back on the test range, and something that we are still not very comfortable with is the recoil control from the M16A4. Well, okay, usually the quad stands here, but now it's here for some reason. Let's put an ammo box on it and switch back to the M16A4, get on the quad, and then there is a spot that I use for recoil compensation. And that is actually the similar spot as X-Factor use, and that is the one behind here. So what we're going to do now is, of course, learning our recoil, and therefore we go with the 3 bursts as we usually do. Oh, okay, this time I even compensated for the recoil, which I don't want to. Again, you see, muscle memory is something that's very important, and sometimes even very annoying. So again, without moving my mouse, come on, now. Oh, here we go. Do it again. Again. As you can see, almost straight down. You have to pull your mouse almost straight down, but with a little bit to the left. So this is actually the spread pattern of the M16A4. So where's our ammo? Here is. And now we need to compensate for it. So let's do it. Let's try it. Not bad. Now we are pretty much at a very, very close range, and so we can get away with spamming our trigger fingers and linking our bursts together. So now, if we are in mid-range, it should be... What the fuck? Oh, here we go. If we are in mid-range, so somewhat here, don't spam your trigger finger. And just keep little bursts between your between your bursts, little breaks. As you can see, you can still spam, but it's much more accurate to leave some breaks between it. Now, for longer ranges, keep the breaks even a little bit longer, and you can see it's very, very much. Very, very, very accurate. So you can see overall the M16A4 is now a very, very accurate and versatile platform. Even more, in my opinion, than the M16A3 back in Battlefield 3. But with the little problem that we now have a burst weapon. And that is something we need to get used to. In the burst mode, as I taught you in the first part, it's very important to learn how to burst it. So something that I sometimes do if I feel that my aim is a little bit sloppy, I combine all my skills together and get back to the test ranges. And now we try to combine our aiming skills with recoil and with our burst skills. So what I'm going to do now is concentrating on those 2 targets, on those 2, and on those ones. So what you're going to do now is combine our 3 bursts with recoil control and with aiming. So what I do then is standing here behind the ammo crate and do our 3 bursts. Okay, messed up the last one. Again. Okay, messed this one, and back again. So, what you maybe notice is every time I reload, I duck behind this, and that is something that I've trained a lot lately, is to get behind cover if I need to reload. Something that I always did, and I really annoyed about, is that sometimes I do something like this. See, I see a target there, and then reload and get to the next point and start shooting again, reload, get to the next cover, shoot again, so reload and get to the next, and that is something that me always got killed, because sometimes I pop out of the cover, start to reload, and I didn't notice that there was another target, and of course, because I was reloading, even if the reload of the M16A4 is quite fast, I got killed every time because I was reloading while I'm moving behind another cover. And so something that I try to train is do my bursts, and for reload, duck behind cover. And that is something you can train also, and since then my KD went up as well. So that's it for today. I hope you learned something, and if you did so, then leave me a comment and a thumbs up. I would be very happy, and it would be very appreciated if you comment, even if you think that I'm wrong at some places or with some topics. Then just leave me the comment, and I would be happy to discuss with you about this. So I'm out. My name is Frankie from BCTRGaming. Ciao ciao.